It's 14 minutes before the hour 8 o'clock on this manic Monday morning on the hottest breakfast show in Africa, Jeff and Jalas on Hot 96 Jalas.
Up to now, you know, I don't know how to call KJ.
Yeah, you don't know whether it's Weshimiwa
I don't know.
KJ.
It has still not
John.
Even, it has never even dawned on me.
You know,
we still meet in the corridor.
But you better get used to it because pretty soon, you'll be Weshimiwa Felix.
Jalango.
Weshimiwa.
But very soon.
In the August house of 2022. By that time KJ atakuwa veteran, you know, around
anakaribisha mamono. Good one.
Wewe na Mohoho Kenyatta.
Muhoho. But him I hear
Santi Kokoma Rafiki
2032
huku nande kwenu tuko marafiki.
Ni kama wewe tu, wacha kujifanya ati wewe ongea tu Kiswahili yako ya kawaida ni kama hiyo yake. Umeshasikia Jeff akiongea Kiswahili
mambo yote
ni ngumu. Wow, I tell you, he is so humble in his
weshimaness.
Exactly. KJ, did you ever think you'd be in the same house with the likes of Jaguar, likes of Mohamed Jichopevo, likes of Babu Owino? Did you ever think?
Well, these are interesting times for Kenya. And, you know, of course, what people don't realize is that there were more youthful MPs in the 11th Parliament, if we were to count numbers, than in this Parliament. The caucus of young MPs in the 11th Parliament was way bigger than the caucus this time round. However, the people with great name recognition that got in the 12th Parliament. And of course it comes with great responsibility. There are high expectations, not only from the people of Nyali, but actually the entire country for Moha. There are great expectations, not only from the people of Starehe, but even the entire performing community for Jaguar. And it's the same, we know we are carrying a bigger burden. And so, yes, I would say I would never have imagined that I would be in a parliament as interesting as the 12th Parliament. And it's only just begun.
Indeed.
The drama hasn't started.
Well, the drama has started because Babu came to your neighborhood over the weekend and he abused the president in not a very good way. I mean, abuse is never ever good, but when he says something like what he said, I don't know if we should repeat it or not.
Actually not.
It's not worth it, huh?
Yeah, I think there are things that we shouldn't glorify. And yes, it was in a neighboring constituency. It was yesterday that Babu uttered the unrepeatables. And I've got to say that there, you know, in a civil society, there should be levels at which these things can be addressed. And the first level is obviously the people who are there when he was uttering this. Whether it is the audience or his party, there should have been an immediate reaction. Secondly, of course, there are things that are not allowed to be uttered in public. So there is the police and the administration that should deal with us. A political reaction to that would actually be glorifying the words that were uttered by Babu Owino.
Yeah.
So I think that there should be an address of these issues at those levels. And when you think about it, it's quite unfortunate. And it's unfortunate at two levels. One, that someone can stand up in front of a crowd and utter that. But secondly, that he's being cheered on to say that.
Yeah.
Getting carried away in the heat of the moment. You know, when you think about it, it's wrong at so many levels. Yeah.
And yet they don't see anything wrong.
Well, there were people cheering him on as he was uttering that.
There were.
Yeah.
Wow. Tough. So, bottom line, KJ, calls for mass action. Your thoughts?
As I said earlier on, you know, it's a fine line to walk. I said that constitutionally, any Kenyan is allowed to picket, is allowed to demonstrate, is allowed to go out there and air their grievances. I think the timing is very wrong. We're in a very delicate situation as a country. Right now, going to town and demanding that someone leaves an office can be taken to be provocation. And any reaction to that will inevitably lead to chaos. Reaction number one would be an opposing side deciding that you cannot go and stage a demonstration in town because you're blocking business, you're bringing business to a standstill, and so on and so forth. That would lead to chaos. Situation number two would be a violent reaction by police, tear gas, bullets, and so on, which will also inevitably lead to chaos. So any way you look at it, it's uncalled for at this moment. But most importantly, there are constitutional ways of asking for constitutional office bearers to leave office. There are steps that you can take constitutionally that would end up leading to the removal of people from office. But you cannot tell me that, we are always told that my rights stop where your rights begin. You cannot tell me that it is very okay to come and storm the Hot 96 offices claiming that you don't like how Jalas looks or how Jeff sounds, and demand that they need to leave the studio, and say that you're staging a sit-in, because you've got your rights too. Jeff Jalas has his rights too. So there are constitutional ways of approaching this, but most importantly, the bigger picture, where Kenya is at the moment, it can be viewed as provocation, which would ultimately lead to chaos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Dizeko Kilai Musili says, I think government should come up with a comedy competition program, Jalas, you listening, in our schools to identify potential talent in time. And then Simon Gania says, ati mheshimiwa KJ alikuwa comedian. Ebu achekeshe kidogo.
Jalas lives in that world. He knows. You're walking in town, and someone points at you. Oh, when Jalas, nichekeshe. But no one ever points at a doctor and says in the streets, "Itibu." You're walking. Nidunge shindano.
Polisi nishike
nione. Hakuna.
But a comedian,
Nichekeshe.
You get that a lot?
Of course, yes. Of course.
Jalas, you are my fan. You are my fan.
You're my fan. Akikuona Jalas, nimekuona Rife. Nimekuona Rife. Unakuonaga kwa TV lakini nimekuona Rife.
Wewe ni fan wangu sana.
So you're the fan, not him.
Not him. No.
Fan wangu sana.
One other thing that so many people don't understand is you also have feelings. There are days you wake up on the wrong side.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Feeling well.
You're human.
You're human.
Yes.
You have issues. You have bills to pay. At the end of the day, they see the happy person. You understand? They see somebody who should make them happy. That's what they know you for. You understand?
And it's a harsh life.
Yes.
I've got to say it. We all know the story of Robin Williams. One of the funniest men the planet has ever seen.
Yes.
But totally depressed.
Troubled.
We know the story of the guy who walked out of set and disappeared at the height of his career. Dave Chappelle. The thing is, comedians and to a large extent performers and artists are some of the most emotionally intelligent people. But it's also a burden that they carry, because they say that the strongest people suffer the greatest depression, because everyone thinks they're strong, and no one thinks that at any point they need help. And the comedians suffer that a lot, because everyone expects to see their sunny side up
every day and every time.
Every time.
Sometimes you just need somebody who can see beyond the cage on the screen. You must have really close friends who see the other side of you. Somebody who can always ask you, John, how was your day?
Take a break. Take a break.
How was your day? Felix, how was your day?
And to them, it's not a performance.
It's not a performance. Somebody you go back to and actually have your emotions all attached to them,
and they can see if you're burning out.
You're burning,
which is in key,
man,
especially performance.
Burnout is real.
Burnout is real. By the way, Carly, all the way from Seattle, Washington, she's loving the conversation. KJ,
wow.
She says,
"Thank you, Carly, and thank you for listening."
Very, very inspiring, and nothing is impossible.
Andrew Willie says he's listening in. what a great inspirational morning. We are listening. He says, deep and very inspirational. Thank you so much and kudos to you, KJ.
Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it.
Tony Airo anasema KJ sasa kuje nimtengeneze nywele. I want to be your official barber.
Good man.
Thank you so much.
He's doing very well.
Tony Airo, amazing.
You should
He's got the products and everything.
Oh, yes.
I've seen it. Yes, very good.
Kwanza hii yako na ya umama hii badilisho.
Ana miadi yake.
Gel.
Unasema Jeff aekwe weave.
Tayari nywele yake.
Why are you hating, man?
I'm not ready.
Why are you hating, bro? KJ, some final thoughts, my brother, as we go to the top of the hour. Final thoughts.
Well, as I said, I once spoke at the launch of the Jubilee Party. And when I was speaking there, I quoted an African thinker who is a philosopher and a great Pan-Africanist. His name is Frantz Fanon. And Frantz Fanon, in the book, in his book, Wretched of the Earth, says that every generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission. And after discovering its mission, decide whether to fulfill it or forfeit it. It's not a mission for just KJ or Jalas or Jeff. We as a generation need to discover what our mission is in Kenya today at such a given time. And then we've got to make a decision whether to fulfill it or forfeit it. Now think about it. For 60 odd years, we've been told that our mission is to get rid of ignorance, to get rid of disease, to get rid of poverty. We've got to decide as a generation, is that still our mission? Taking into account the living standards today, taking into account the level of hatred and tribal animosity, is that still our mission? We've got to discover our mission and then decide whether we are going to fulfill it or forfeit it. And that is what is going to dictate how our children will be telling the story of our generation. Are we the guys who got Kenya to be a better country for them, or are we the people who made it even worse for them? Finally, it's an honor to be here. And I'll say that it gets very lonely when you get into office. Kindly keep us in check, Jalas. Make sure that we are still we still have a conscience when we are out there, and personally call us out. Say KJ. This is not the KJ we knew you to be. Call us out. At times, a critique is not criticism. Critique can come before criticism. Just be our conscience, because the moment you get there, as I said, there are people on the other side who start pointing and saying, ule Jalas amekuwa kama hawa say. So you need people who can be your conscience even as you get in. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
KJ, you just nailed it, man. John Kiarie, Mheshimiwa. Parliament.
Nimetumwa na watu wa Dagoretti South. Ni mjumbe.
Peleka ujumbe.
Wacha nipeleke ujumbe.
Ujumbe yetu hatuna maji, hatuna barabara.
Ndio hiyo. But think about it. The roads have to be done. The water has to be delivered. The medicine has to be taken to the dispensaries. Yeah. But most importantly, and it's someone who says on leadership that the best tool for leadership that you have is a personal example. Jalas, you're leading. Jeff, you're leading by just inspiring someone out there. So leadership calls upon, yes, the delivery of social goods, but most importantly, it's aspiring to inspire someone or people out there. So even for Dagoretti South constituency, even as we're delivering the social goods, we are looking to see how we would be able to develop individuals, people, young people in enterprise, young people in performing and visual arts, young people in emerging industries of IT and media. Let's see if those also can be something that can earn a living for our people.
Mheshimiwa, keep inspiring, man. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you very much.
All the very best in the 12th
Parliament. Asante, nimefurahi, nyinyi ni marafiki, lakini sijaenda Nandi. The Hot Breakfast with Jeff and Jalango.